A sneak peek at what's coming up next.
I'm also trying to control my level of passion and emotional reaction. I've learned that I can be intense. And
I'm looking forward to that new Mel Gibson movie about you coming out, The Passion of the Nick.
Look, if you say the neurotypical world is not built for us, and here's all my facts for it, you're saying they built a world to make themselves feel better, but it's not us versus them. Okay. We all know autistic people are a bit more rigid in their thinking about things than neurotypical people. We know that autistic people.
I'm more Ryobi in my thinking, but.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh. What are you doing? Like, what is it you're doing to help yourself, improve your life, learn the social things so you can get the job you want, or so you can be in the industry you want, or so you can have the life you want, or so you can find a partner, or for like, what are you doing? Are you sitting down listening to people who are advocating for you to sit back and the world has to change? Or are you listening to people who have gotten what you want and you're trying to figure out how to get what you want?
Get ready for peak autism infotainment. Thrilling topics, amazing guests, great laughs, and autism.
On the Spectrum, an autistic podcast.
Good day, and welcome to another thrilling episode of On the Spectrum podcast. I am Nick.
I don't think autism and thrill go together, but
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
there's nothing thrilling about autism.
Yes, there is.
Oh,
There's
what's
some
thrilling?
amazing shit about autism.
It's thrilling?
Yes, that's thrilling, that's exciting, that's engaging,
Like a
that's
roller coaster.
adventurous.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Why not? Perception. And I love the fact that you started it that way. I don't think you intended, but I love it. Anyway, this is On the Spectrum podcast. We don't record as often as we used to, but that's because we have lives. And also,
Speak for
because-
yourself.
I'm trying to, but you keep interrupting. But I'm Nick. That's Steve. If you're watching us, I'm sorry for you. And if you're listening to us, bravo. So today, we're actually going to talk about perception, a very specific way perception, because I get influenced by a lot of the social media I engage with, or rather that I fucking watch, because I'm the one who deals with a lot of the social media for On the Spectrum podcast. And so I'm constantly listening to autistic people allies. Allies and stuff. Steve, jump in.
We could just pause,
Yeah, pause.
This is CNN.
Did you just say this is CNN?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. All right, James Earl Jones. All right. Oh, we're already back.
Yeah, that's okay. There's something called editing, and I can.
I didn't know you knew how to do that.
Yeah.
Because last time I checked, you barely ever did that on these. Okay, so. All right, so sorry for the interruption there. I accidentally knocked over my coffee. Anyway, what was I talking about? Right.
Perception.
So I do a lot of the social media. And so I have to watch a lot of social media. And a lot of it has to do with neurodivergence, autistic people, ADHD, all that kind of people. And lately, and especially this morning, but lately I've seen more and more creators and, you know, higher influence creators, right? And what I mean by that is people who've got some big chunky accounts and shit. And I've been noticing that they're no longer trying to educate and get information out there, but instead they're trying to cater to, pander to, trying to validate people's misperceptions of neurotypicals and or how autistic people are. And they're getting real generalized in their statements about a lot of shit. And
SB supremacy?
Yeah, pretty close to it, because they continue to negate people who are higher support need.
We are the next evolution.
Yeah, well, if we're the next evolution, then fucking society's
We're like
gonna die.
X-Men.
You know what? X-Men were cool. Well, some of them. Some of them had really stupid powers, but anyway. So I wanted to talk about perception, but I also wanted to talk about at some point in this conversation, I wanted to talk about our accountability to us as autistic people living life, and also the level of effort we're putting in for ourselves. And it's something I've talked about before in other episodes, but I really wanted to talk about it specifically because somebody did a couple of comments that really kind of tweaked me, really kind of set me off. And I actually responded to them, you're fucking out of your stupid ass mind. You need to delete your account. And I don't usually get to that point with anybody, even if it's like some super racist, monkey. I don't usually get to that point with people, but this person made a comment about all autistic people that just made me go, you got to stop talking with humans. But anyway, the perception thing first and foremost. I'm not going to say the name of the person because he is rather popular, but the person put a post out, and the gotcha, let's pay attention to him statement above his head was neurotypicals hate autistic people. And obviously that was written above his face because he was trying to get people to listen to it more, watch it more, whatnot. But he continued to babble on about how neurotypical people just don't understand us. They all are annoyed by us. They're all frustrated by us.
So they're all angsty teenagers.
Yeah,
you just don't understand that. You just don't understand. You don't get it. And it's not a phase.
Yeah. So all of what he said was not about how some. It was all. And things that he was saying was like reinforcing other autistics' belief in it. And when I say belief, look, if you say the neurotypical world is not built for us, and here's all my facts for it, you're saying they built a world to make themselves feel better, but it's not us versus them, okay? For one, that's a misperception in itself because not all neurotypical people don't understand. It's not all neurotypical people hate you. It's not all neurotypical people who are annoyed by you or don't understand you. But everything he said was just that. And everybody in the comments went, oh, I totally understand. I can't have neurotypical friends because you're a fucking asshole. Sorry, that's my gut reaction to when people say that. So when it comes to this perception thing, okay, and the reason why I want to bring it up, and I'll try to be concise about this, but there's so much of this that I fucking get heated about. But when it comes to perception, okay, we all know autistic people are a bit more rigid in their thinking about things than neurotypical people. We know that autistic people...
I'm more Ryobi in my thinking, but...
You're what? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Power tools. Got it. Power tools.
I consider myself a little DeWalt, actually.
Okay. Damn it.
It's a bad joke.
Because when you initially said Ryobi, I'm like, wait, did I miss something? No, I didn't. Okay. Well, I did, but I didn't. So
it's a dumb joke.
Yeah. So autistic people and neurodivergent people lean heavier on a cognitive distortion of black and white thinking. We also have tendency to get hyperfixated on things. Yes, all of these things exist, and we have to understand how that influences our perception of other people and our interactions with other people. And so when we make assumptions, okay, about our interaction that we're having with another person, we need to check it against all of those things because maybe we're fucking wrong. Maybe we assumed that all those people who we assume are neurotypical.
Can I play devil's advocate here for a minute?
Sure.
I would say the opposite side of this would be, so human beings make assumptions for a reason. Like our brains are wired in a way to...
to boil everything down to simplest terms, yes.
Yeah, well, that's not how I was going to phrase it, but yeah, I mean...
How are you going to
just that, our brains are programmed to simplify things in a way to process the amount... Because our senses are constantly taking in an extremely large amount of information.
Yes.
And our brain has to process it, and it can't process all of the raw information, which is why like you're only focusing on one thing at a time typically, and your brain simplifies things and it makes connections because it's easier for the brain to function that way.
Right.
Also, I would say that we have instincts, right? And your instincts aren't always correct, but a lot of times assumptions and instincts that we have are correct, right?
I mean, it's probability on that.
I would say
Like,
that they're. I would say it's probably more accurate than it isn't.
I think it would be dependent on what specifically we're talking about. I can't say that overall.
So if I'm not,
And I'm not asking you to get into details on that. Keep making your point about the other thing.
well, no, that was on my point is that you're saying that you're talking about why it's bad to make assumptions and that we need to check ourselves.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that a lot of times your instincts are correct. And a lot of times the assumptions we make based on context make sense and they're true. If I see a certain number of variables, I'm going to make a judgment about it. And we do that instinctually. It's probably also a survival thing, right?
It's
because
just human nature to do that. You're right.
For survival reasons, if you talk about it maybe on a evolutionary level, it makes sense that you have to make split decisions about, is this a threat? Is this not a threat? Is this whatever, right? Like human beings are, most human beings are naturally afraid of like snakes or serpent type things. Yeah. And it would make sense evolutionarily that we would not like those type of creatures because they would prey on our earlier.
Yeah, they would bite us and make us go, ow.
Right. And they would eat our earlier evolution.
No, and I'm with you on that. I got you. What I will say, especially about that probability thing, okay? Yeah. I will say this. If there is variables or if there's information you can't possibly fucking have, then no, you cannot make that conclusion or draw that assumption without it being possibly and more than likely wrong. Okay. And let me give a little bit of a specific so everybody doesn't go, the fuck is he talking about? When you're having an interaction with another human being and you're reading on their face, you're assuming on their face they're irritated with you. You don't read minds. It has nothing to do with you, maybe. It might have something to do with you, but it might not. And to assume that every time you see that facial expression, that every one of those people is irritated with you because you're the common denominator, fuck no. People are stressed. People have worries in their life. We don't know what happened to them 5 minutes prior. So to make that assumption every single time. Now, autistic folk have this pattern recognition better than other people thing, or at least that's the assumption, right? But just because you see a pattern, don't make it true. And by no means can you draw conclusions based on that pattern most of the time. Now, some of the time you can, and you can be relatively right, okay? But that doesn't mean you are truly right in your conclusion. It means that you have evidence to support, but if you walked in the door with an assumption or a pre-drawn conclusion that everybody in that room is going to find you irritating because the last room of people thought you were irritating, you're setting that up because you're also not going to be paying attention to the things you do that might irritate people. This is what I mean by the misperception of things, right? And that's why I wanted it to lead into the effort part. And we'll get there. When it comes to this perception thing.
So I just thought of a joke because there was something I wanted to say in response to what you were saying, but I didn't say it because I figured it would just turn in. You would probably just say it was a kind of a ridiculous comparison, but
no, go for it. Like maybe there's some validity.
There was a joke George Carlin used to do about he would do those things where he talks about phrases we say in English that don't really make sense. Yeah. And in one of the ones you say like, oh, it's the quiet ones you got to watch. And he's like, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 while you're watching the quiet guy, a noisy one will fucking kill you.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
But
yes, that's part of what I'm talking about.
But how that relates to what I was going to say is like, if I see somebody waving around a knife, right? I'm going to make some assumptions and I might be wrong.
Sure.
But I'm not going to like, pretend he might be a nice guy and go over there and talk to him because he's waving around a knife.
Yeah.
So my assumption is there's something wrong with this guy. He's waving around a knife. He might be dangerous. I'm not going towards him.
Yeah. And in those extreme examples that we can all come up with, absolutely, those outlier situations, we can all agree. But let's get a little bit less on the extreme.
No, but it does impact the way you handle things day to day, especially where I work in sales, right?
Yeah. Which, by the way, that also means that you're more practiced in drawing conclusions that may or may not be true.
A lot of salespeople are prejudiced.
Yes.
And there is pattern recognition when you see certain people coming in and you work in a certain area. Yeah. You draw certain conclusions about the person before they even come into the store because you see like What kind of car are they driving? What are they wearing?
Right. Right.
How are they walking? All these different things give you clues about who the person might be. And I want to say 9 out of 10 times
You're probably right.
we're right. Yeah.
You're probably right. And I don't doubt that. What I'm mostly trying to say about this, because I agree with you. Anytime I've worked in sales, you always look at the shine of the shoes. You look at what type of shoes. You look at how they're carrying themselves.
No, but blue collar guys, a lot of times they'll come in dirty, but they have money and they spend money, especially if they own a business.
To a degree.
You see a guy in a construction truck comes in.
Well, it depends on it. Like there's some variables in there that you have to kind of pay attention to, right? So like the younger guy that's super grimy who's driving the fucking Toyota Corolla. I'm gonna say he's not wealthy. But then again, I've also known a lot of plumbers to be super cheap ass motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
Who will always try to go the cheapest route.
Well, I look
possible
for
to fix
families
shit.
coming in.
But, no. So
If somebody's coming in with the whole family, then they're probably buying stuff.
Here's what I mean by that, though, is like, should you assume that about everybody? No. But in your line of work, it is actually beneficial for you to pre-construct the way in which you're.
But it
doesn't
impact how I treat them when they come in.
Right, you're still going to be a decent person to them,
But
right?
and I still service them the same regardless. It's just that when I see them walking, I start to make like mental judgments about, oh, what's this? I already know what this person's going to want. Yeah. And most of the time when they come in, I'm like, I already know. And this person's going to be a waste of time.
Right.
And this person's not going to make me any money.
And it could be true. But when you're making assessments about all neurotypical people or all people who are one thing or another, I think you're doing a disservice to yourself and you're also doing a disservice to them. But more importantly, when you walk up to somebody who looks similar to that other person, you're not going to treat that person differently, whether you want to or not, you're gonna. And then when you look at yourselves and you say, I'm autistic, I do things a certain way, well, other autistic must. Don't say shit like autistic people do X because you do it or 5 other people you know do it. We have to be careful with that language. We have to be careful in the way we're letting ourselves draw conclusions, because the same shit that y'all accuse neurotypicals of doing, you're doing to them as well as each other. And so, like, be mindful of it.
I think we should just round up all the NTs and put them in camps.
I think it'd be easier to round up all autistic people.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that?
I mean, there's fewer of them, less money to get rid of them.
Okay, round all of us up and put us in like a resort, you know?
No, why be nice? Why be good? That's all a joke. Yeah. I hope to God Oaks Cliff
autistic reservations. There we go. We'll get the Native American treatment.
Oh, man. That would suck. We would die off so much quicker. So look, because in the same regard, we're talking about like negative judgments or assessments of people, negative assumptions about people. I will also put this to the same people who are saying that autistic people are better in some way, whatever fucking way you think autistic people are better. You are wrong. And I'm just going to say you're wrong. Just because we have more neurons in our fucking brains than other people, or because our brains don't prune as much as other people, or just because some bit of research says we think more often than other people, or more intellectual energy.
So in my case,
that doesn't make you smarter.
In my case, it's just coincidence that I'm superior. It's not because of
that's exactly right.
I'm just superior for other reasons.
It's just because you are. It's just because you are. Not autism made you that.
I'm Homo sapien.
There you go. See, 3 levels of awesome.
That's right. It's like Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah, that's right. And just because you read some bullshit that says your brain does not make serotonin, well, you're fucking wrong. Your brain has to. At what level? I don't know. And you might have a decrease of serotonin in your brain.
I could use less cortisol.
Makes it. Oh, me too. Same thing with dopamine seeking. I saw another video of this lady talking about how autistic people are not more likely to be addicts. Yeah, actually we are. Yeah, statistically we seem to be, that neurodiverse people seem to be more likely to be addicts and drug seek. No shit. And this person tried to say, no, it's because we're trying to deal with the pain of our life. No shit. That's one of the reasons why people become fucking addicts. It's because they're trying to avoid their fucking pain. No shit. And then she was trying to blame society for it. And
I thought I read something
there
not
is
so
trauma,
long ago
there is pain.
that if you're,
But you had to choose to do it.
I think I read a statistic not too long ago. I don't know the details of it, so I don't know if it's bullshit or not. But it was if you're autistic or you have ADHD, you have like a 35% more likelihood of being an alcoholic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I don't know if that number's correct.
I don't either. I just know that we are more likely to do dopamine seeking behaviors, do drug use, engage in risky behaviors. I know we're more likely because more of us do it. And like, I get somebody's going to say it's not my fucking fault. I was treated like shit my whole life. Cool. But how you react to the pain you feel is on you. Okay. It's not totally on you, but it's still on you to do it. Like, it's still on you to decide how to deal with it. And that's, I guess now I can go into the effort part of this. What are you doing? Like, what is it you're doing to help yourself, improve your life, learn the social things so you can get the job you want, or so you can be in the industry you want, or so you can have the life you want, or so you can find a partner, or for, like, what are you doing? Are you sitting down listening to people who are advocating for you to sit back and the world has to change? Or are you listening to people who have gotten what you want and you're trying to figure out how to get what you want? And also, I said this before we were starting to record, also know your limits for you. Like, don't try to live up to a person, an effort, a standard, an expectation that is not realistic for you, right? Like,
you can only compare you to yourself.
I mean, you say that jokingly, but I agree with that statement. Like, you can only compare yourself to you, because otherwise there's a whole lot of wrong to judging yourself based on someone else. I mean, they ain't you, you ain't them. Like, there are a number of factors that contribute to why they got to where they are that you could not possibly have or do. So you got to be mindful of where your limits are, where your boundaries are, what your level is. And that doesn't mean you're lesser to anybody else. It just means you have a different place to get to than they do. So one of the reasons why this kind of stuff bothers the shit out of me is, for one, we as a community will never truly be a community if all we're doing is saying, well, these people who validate my misguided belief or my misperception, if I'm only listening to them, but I'm going to negate everybody else who's autistic, then like we can't come together as a group. The same thing with the people who have influence over a large number of autistic people, and they're slinging this shit and making people go, well, I can't because I am. No. Like, if you say to yourself up front, I can't do X because I'm autistic.
So it's like, what do you call it? Like learned helplessness or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, similar idea, yeah. Actually, I think it's almost exactly
it's a self-defeatist mentality.
Yeah, a defeatist. Yeah, there you go.
You're already assuming you can't do something before you even try. Yeah. Look, which is actually how I feel about my customers, which I told you before. Last time we spoke about how
could you call them all boomers?
It's annoying when the old people who like don't even try to do something, they just like, somebody else will do it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, you haven't even tried. I can't do it. Can you not do it, or you just don't want to try?
You didn't want to try. I would actually say that
I'm not good with that technological gobbledygook. You know?
And here's one of my statements that hopefully I'll get vilified for. I think, and it's been my experience when talking to autistic people, that a lot of not all, not majority, but a lot of autistic people, okay, don't fucking try to help themselves. Whoa. They sit on their fucking ass and they say the world has to help them.
You're a bigot.
They sit on their ass and they say it's somebody else's responsibility to make me feel good about me. Fuck you. You got to make you feel good about you. It's not, the world doesn't need to validate you. The world doesn't need to say you're okay. You need to say you're okay. You need to validate the fact you're autistic. You need to accept that there are some fucking things about you
the
that
problem,
are not fucking good.
The problem, Nick, is that message doesn't sell well. You know, what
But
sells?
I'm not here to sell a message. That's the part
The
of
things that
of
sell
this.
are like things that make people upset and enraged, or piss people off, or you know, to help people feel like a victim.
Yeah. Well,
those are the things that get views and get clicks and get reads, and people interact with those things because they're like, they can relate, and they're like, it's a more of an emotional response. It's like, I feel like a victim. You're validating the fact that I feel like a victim.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel better about myself because it's not my fault. It takes responsibility away from me.
You know what? Valid. The way you feel is the way you feel. You're not wrong for feeling the way you do, but I need you to also understand that the way you feel don't make fact. Just because you
Ben
feel,
Shapiro.
Yeah, right. Jesus.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Well, they don't. As well as the opposite. Your feelings don't give a shit about facts. Your feelings are derived purely based on perceptions and thinkings you fucking have. Yes, that person said something really offensive to you. And you can feel whatever the fuck way you want, and you're totally right in the way you feel. But it's how you react to them and or move forward in your day that fucking matters.
I think that related to what you're saying is that people tend to talk about things, especially on social media, and on a macro level, they don't think about the micro level.
Yeah.
They're thinking about on a big scale, those people are bad to us or things suck for us, right? But what you're saying, you're talking from like similar to how a therapist or a psychologist would talk to somebody. It's dealing with somebody on a one-on-one basis.
I wonder why I talk that way.
It's what can you do? Because at the end of the day, you only have control over yourself and your own actions and your own behavior. You can't control what everyone else does. So if you sit there and obsess over how everyone else thinks or the way people treat you, it's going to drive you insane because you can't fix those things. You can't control those things. Now, if you organize as a group and you join an organization, maybe over time you can change people's perceptions and change their knowledge about autism and what things are like, what life is like for an autistic person. But in your day-to-day life, the only thing that's going to make your life better is you, right? That's what you're saying.
And and I'm glad you made that way more succinct than I did the first time. Because
that's what I do.
I'm also trying to make sure that people don't misunderstand me to a degree.
You're saying pull yourself up by your bootstraps, kids. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Not exactly, but yeah, it's similar.
That's how people will hear it, though.
Yeah, I know that's how they're going to hear it.
You're going to hear old man says, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yes, exactly.
Stop blaming the world for your problems.
Well, I do believe that there is a degree of stop blaming the world for your fucking problems.
All right, Reagan.
Well, it's here's an extreme example. Okay. If you sit at home only looking at social media on your computer and you wonder why you don't have friends, if you go into public spaces to meet new people, but you don't talk to anybody, if you want to be in a play but never audition for one,
if you have to put a coat on to use the bathroom, you might be
like I mean,
I'm sorry, you reminded me of Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah. I mean,
you might be a redneck.
That's what I was going for. The reason why I keep starting stopping sentences is because I'm also trying to control my level of passion and emotional reaction. And one of the reasons why I have to do that is because this guy over here gets a bit when I get uppity, if you will. And I've also, through my experiences with other people, not just him, but other people as well, I've learned that I can be intense. And
I'm looking forward to that new Mel Gibson movie about you coming out, The Passion of the Nick.
Yeah. Oh, good God. If he directed it, it would suck. Not because he's a bad director. It's because,
aren't they doing a Passion of the Christ 2?
I heard something about that.
I think he's doing a second one.
Why?
I don't know.
How do you
Is it the resurrection, maybe?
Doesn't he die at the end?
In the first one.
Yeah.
But maybe the second one's the resurrection.
It can't be a 2-hour movie about that. He didn't do that much when he came back. Well, I mean,
yeah, he did. He took a trip to Utah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He took a trip to Utah hundreds of years later.
On his way to heaven, he got lost and went to Utah.
That's right.
He's like, this looks like a good place to bury some gold tablets.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, Jesus. Fuck you, John Smith. No, Joseph Smith was his name. That's right. Anyway. Holy shit, that derailed the shit out of me.
We're going to lose the one Mormon follower we have.
Oh. All right. I don't hate Mormons. It's just, fuck that guy.
It's really funny
Anyway.
to me that Jesus went to heven and somehow ended up in Utah.
Ended up in Utah hundreds of years later. Okay, so no, like, okay, so something I hear people say is no, autistic people don't have a hard time reading and seeing social cues. You're just not honest with your social cues. No, fuck you. We do have a hard time fucking seeing social cues. Some autistic people have a hard fucking time with sarcasm. I can name people I've met recently who are on the fucking spectrum who didn't fucking get basic, average, blatant sarcasm, and it's because they weren't paying attention. Okay? I'll say this much. If you're an autistic person and you have a hard time making eye contact, which some do, you're not going to catch fucking sarcasm half the time because it's not always in the voice. Sometimes it's in the expression with the voice. And so if you ain't looking at their fucking face, then you're going to fucking miss it. No shit. If you're an autistic person who wants to be able to say whatever you want, whatever way you want, any way you want, and people shouldn't have a problem with it, that's you being bad. Okay, that's you not giving a shit about social cues. Now, effort part of this. If you are a person who regularly has negative and or you have been described as having a lack of social understanding, go read more. Go learn from autistic people who do have a better grasp on social interactions. Do something the fuck about it.
Oh, and if you're a neurotypical person,
Yes, please.
as long as you approach it in the right way, I think it's okay to let somebody know when they're doing something that they find to be
Socially
annoying.
inappropriate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going
Yeah.
to say annoying or bothersome.
Yeah. All those things.
Like the example I used a bunch of times on the show is like the personal space thing. People
Yeah.
kept telling me like, "Hey, you're like too close," and the first few times I heard it, I might have found it a little not offensive, but it probably bothered me a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, what am I doing wrong?"
Yeah.
Get defensive about it.
Yeah.
But then eventually I realized that like became cognizant of it, and being aware of it, I was able to stop doing it.
Right.
But there's things that I used to do or social cues that I wasn't good at picking up on when I was younger that I can now. Like I wasn't as good at picking up on sarcasm when I was younger, where people would say things and I would take them literally all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you can't get better or change those things. And then the amount of someone's ability to get better at those things is going to depend on the individual, because
Right. Completely.
some
on the
people might
individual.
not be able to make much progress and other people can.
Well, so again, know your limits, know your
Or look at
expectations. Don't
Temple
compare yourself to
Grandin
others.
when she was a kid, being nonverbal and all that stuff, to where she is now, where she's a professor. But at the
Yeah.
same time, she still struggles with things like sarcasm and joking.
Shit, go back to the episode where we interviewed Temple Grandin, and you will see she sometimes didn't even react to some of the jokes we made. And you could make the argument that we're not actually funny, but you could also make the argument that she wasn't catching it. And watch how she talks, watch how she interacts with us, right? There are social differences, but she also knows she has them. Like, don't hold yourself to somebody else's expectation, whether it be the autistic expectation or the neurotypical expectation. Hold yourself to you. You can make progress in any of it. And you can go back to other episodes that we've made where I talked about how I felt as if I can't do any better than I've done up until this point in my life, right? And I felt defeated. Part of that was because I was trying to hold myself to a standard that was not possible for me to reach. I needed to hold myself to a more realistic one. And I was feeling bad about it. But I also got the fuck over it, meaning I got past that sad moment or that moment of doubt. I mean, I still struggle with that stuff at the same time. Like, I'm still learning social shit too. Like, I'm not superb at it either. but I know that I'm not superb at it, which is why I also have to put faith in other people that I trust. I have to give the trust to my wife that maybe I've gone too far. Maybe I got a little overexcited when I met somebody new of the possibility of this new person and being friends with them. And I kind of scared them off because I was way too intense or whatever. And I have to ask my wife, hey, did I do that thing again? And sometimes she goes, yeah, you did. I'm like, shit. I wanted to be friends with that person. But because I was way too intense or way too giddy or way too forceful to begin with, I scared them off. Okay, fine. But you have to accept the fact that some people ain't going to like you for who you are. And that's okay. You got to like you. As well as like, don't treat other people poorly because somebody else treated you poorly.
No, I treat other people poorly because I like to.
And you're wrong for that. But at least you're happy with it. And understand that everything we do, positive and negative, have consequences, right? And one of the consequences is if you sit on your ass 90% of your fucking day just reading shit online, you are not the consequences. You're going to think the world fucking hates you for being autistic when the reality is 90% of the fucking world doesn't give a fuck that you exist, which is a beautiful thing.
Social media is also full of
extremisms.
I was going to say hyperbole, but yeah, hyperbole.
Isn't that what hyperbole is?
Essentially, I mean, yeah, it's a big exaggeration.
Yeah.
Not necessarily extreme, but it's an exaggeration of the truth. But yeah, it's full of clickbait and if you actually go and interact with people in the real world, you'll find that actual people's opinions are not as extreme as they might be on the internet. Even when you talk to people who seem like they're politically radical and then you talk to people in person, most people are not as extreme as they come across online. Yeah. It's just like, especially when you're face to face with somebody who disagrees with you, if you sit like a conservative and a liberal person down to have an actual conversation, assuming that they're willing to have the conversation, they'll end up meeting eye to eye on a lot of things. You know, they'll realize that their opinions overlap a lot more than you would assume. But when you look at social media, it's all like everybody just fighting and butting heads with each other.
Well, because they need viewership, they need likes, they need reposts, they need followers. But
it's the same thing when it comes to what I'm talking about with like most people are decent.
Yes.
And most people, if you actually interact with them in real life, will be understanding. People do make mistakes. People aren't perfect. People are going to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, neurotypical or autistic.
Just like you. Yeah.
People have misconceptions about autism and other things, but you have to give people a little bit of grace.
Yes.
And allow people to be wrong and make mistakes.
That has been a message that I'm pretty consistent over the podcast about. You got to give yourself grace and you got to give grace to others. It's okay to make a mistake. And
somebody might say something really dumb that's wrong. And instead of jumping down their throat and attacking them, you can
ask them how come.
Or if you want to try to quote unquote correct them, you can. There are nice ways to go about it where you don't come across like an arrogant prick.
Well, yes, there is a nice way to do it, and you could also find out what the fuck they actually mean.
Nobody's going to want to listen to you if you're like, "Oh, that's wrong. You're an idiot."
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about. People are going to be like, "Fuck you. I don't want to listen to
you." In some of those previous examples that I gave about social media, blah blah blah, things people said, some of the comments people said that autistic people are more honest than neurotypical people. That has not been my experience at all. And I would actually say all of my experience of the people we've interviewed, the people I know in my personal life, people I read online. No, we're not more honest. We're not more upfront than other people. No, we're just more blunt than other people. Like, we're not more honest. We wear fucking masks. That's a goddamn lie. Let's see. We also have tendency to not. Some people aren't aware of their emotions super well. Some people take longer to process than other people, and so in that. It can be a lie in our response. So like this kid doesn't necessarily do it, but some people mask over or hide the fact that they take longer to process by just agreeing with people up front. I mean, I've seen you do that at times, but it was shit that didn't really matter. But And if you're just agreeing for agreeing to shut them up because you don't have an opinion yet, or you need to think it through or research it a little bit more, that's still a fucking lie. You're agreeing just to agree. You're agreeing to shut them the fuck up. And that's a lie.
I do that every day. But it's because I don't feel
Well,
like...
yeah, but you work in retail.
It's because I don't feel like having conversations with people about certain things. So I just say, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also work in retail, guy. And I, up until recently, worked in retail.
People have to tell you their life story.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Well, sometimes people talk about things that you don't want to talk about, but I just...
See, differences between me and Steve. I've never found a conversation I didn't want to have. I wish that wasn't true, actually, because there are times where I should not have engaged in that conversation.
I feel uncomfortable when people start emotionally dumping and they're talking about, my wife died of cancer 3 weeks ago and my dog died and I tried to kill myself, and they go like that. Those are the conversations people have with me sometimes. And I'm respectful and I listen, but I feel like it's a lot to dump on somebody to just start like...
Yeah, but you don't have to listen. You choose to listen.
People feel comfortable speaking to me because I listen, but
yeah, okay.
But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have an impact on me listening to all these people's trauma.
Yeah, dude, I was a fucking therapist. I know. And all the years I spent prior to that believing, that I should be the one to listen.
I've had customers like crying, talking to me, talking about how their kids disown them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of older people.
Yeah.
Like my daughter won't talk to me. She moved away.
And
I'm like that, but in my head, I'm like, why are you telling me all this? But like, I listen to it, and well, maybe that's what people need to go to therapy.
Yeah, they do need therapy, but people aren't willing to pay
instead
for
of a
it.
therapist. They can come to a store and talk to a sales guy.
No,
instead.
it's more of just, it was their time.
I know.
Right? Like they needed somebody to listen. You started listening and they couldn't stop themselves. They couldn't help it. They needed
I don't
to get
cut
it out.
people off. I let them talk.
I know. That's a difference in that too, is like you won't cut people off because it's uncomfortable or whatever the reason is. You won't do it.
Because I feel bad. I feel like it's rude.
Well, but what's
not rude,
more,
but so if somebody is dumping all this trauma on me, I feel like an asshole to cut them off and be like, I don't know, to cut them off or try to redirect them because it feels like I'm dismissing their feelings, and I don't want people to feel like I'm diminishing or dismissing their feelings, so I let them get it out.
But at the same time, you're not listening.
But it's also not my job to listen to your trauma.
But you're also not listening to you in that. You don't want to be listening to them.
Sometimes, no.
Most of the time, I would say you don't want to listen to them. And so in that regard, you're doing a disservice to yourself because you end up, as you just said, taking on their trauma. So why would you do a disservice to yourself to the benefit of somebody else? In this context,
I would say because typically I get over it quickly. So if somebody dumps all this trauma on me, I'll feel shitty for a few minutes after they leave, and then I just kind of let it go.
And so I came to a point in my life, especially once I left that career field, I came to a point in my life where I said, am I willing to take this on? And if I'm willing to take it on, I'll listen. But if I'm not willing to take it on, I'm going to cut you off before you get too far into that and point out the fact that you need to find somebody to talk to.
I think that's one thing
I'm not going to listen to it because I'm going to be good to me. I'm going to be honest to me. I'm going to be true to who I am. And if in that given moment, I don't want to hear about your dead wife, I'm going to let you know.
I think I'm good at that. When I good at that, I mean
mean about it.
I don't mean like that it's a skill necessarily, but I think that I'm able to compartmentalize that stuff pretty well. So somebody can tell me this horrible thing and I'll feel bad for them and I'll feel like I'll sympathize and I feel really bad for their situation. Right. But then after they leave and maybe I'll get a little like teary-eyed and I'll feel bad for them. They'll leave and then within a few minutes I'm able to kind of just let it go
or shove it down in a little box
and go back to what I'm doing.
I mean, you say compartmentalize it. And I used to think I was super good at compartmentalizing until I started having more and more instances where that was the stuff that was flashing through my head when I was upset. Other people's pain.
See, I don't usually do that. Well,
I know. Sometimes you do.
It depends. But like when customers tell me all this stuff, I feel really bad for them. But like, and I remember it. Yeah. But I feel bad for them. But as soon as I move on to like helping somebody else or doing something else, I'm able to just separate it and let it go.
I used to, and I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying from from my perspective. I used to think I could do that really, really well too, but I also had to come to terms with the fact that I actually have a fuck ton of emotion and a fuck ton of empathy, and I was trying to hide myself from my empathy, so to protect myself, right? Now instead, I just have boundaries. I have limits.
I don't know if this is an autistic thing, but like,
and like I have way more fucking empathy than you do.
It's probably not an autistic thing, but I am. You know how a lot of times people tell me things and I kind of have a deadpan reaction to it?
Yeah.
But I'm also that way when people tell me really fucked up things.
I know.
So people will tell me traumatic things.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to process it and I'm like, okay. But I think that's why people like telling me stuff is because I don't have a strong reaction to it. Like I just listen.
Yes.
And I think
it looks like you're being non-judgmental when
I'm not.
really you're just processing.
But it's also, I mean, I can be, but like, I try to understand where the person's coming from. If somebody tells me some really fucked up shit, like, you know, I used to, if I was the therapist and somebody was talking to me about how they used to physically abuse their partner or something, I would say, like, I'm going to try to figure out why would somebody do that? Why would this guy get physically violent with somebody that he supposedly loves? I might think that in the back of my head, but at the time, like, I'm going to just listen to what they're telling me, right? Like, I'm not going to freak out and be like, oh my God, you're an abuser.
No.
You know what I mean?
But there's a middle ground between the two of those too. Like you can ask in that scenario that you just proposed, you can ask questions to understand.
Like, why did you get to that point where you resorted to physical violence with somebody?
Well, you never want to say why, because that automatically puts people in the defensive, but more of just help me understand what got you there.
My point is that my point of what I'm saying is that almost nothing shocks me.
Yeah. Well,
And
initially.
so there are a few things where they would probably make me very uncomfortable that I can think of. Right. But like, even like I've talked to people while they were suicidal and things like that.
Been there.
And I'm able to, I guess, remain like, even if it bothers me emotionally, like I don't let my emotions take over. I'm able to like maintain a clear mind during those situations.
Well, yeah, I still stay rational, but I still have a reaction. But the thing about it too is like, there are certain things you can divulge to me that I will have a negative reaction to, but not most of them, because a lot of things are contextual based. I wasn't there. I don't know why you blew up and punched your wife in the face. Some people would automatically have a reaction, go, fuck you, no, never. But I mean, if she was coming at you with a knife, you know what I mean? So like contextually speaking, like I'm going to try to get more information.
Yeah.
And I always try to stay connected with people.
I just saw this.
And I know that's not a thing you have tendency to try to do in those moments. I mean, from our own experience, like I'll tell you something really painful to me and he'll sit there and look as if I just told him the Yankees, won the fucking World Series.
Well, it depends. I think if
he's also not a Yankees fan.
If I was doing it as a job, like if I wanted to become a psychologist or a therapist or something, and I was doing it as a job, I would make more of an effort to show more empathy for the person,
or just be more connected. Like,
but I think as far as like people sharing stuff with me, obviously people feel comfortable with fucking telling me the most horrible shit. Well, because I listen.
Well, it's also because the reaction is,
and I don't judge them.
Well, yeah, but you do at the end of the day.
I mean,
once you process,
I judge why somebody would tell me. And it's not like, and usually my conclusion is, well, this person obviously, like if I have an old man coming in and telling me like I tried to kill myself, I did all this stuff, and this was the real guy who told me all this stuff. He survived.
Listen to the podcast.
He survived the war. He's like messed up because of stuff that happened to him in Vietnam and all this stuff. And I'm listening, and my conclusion was he's from an older generation. Mm-hmm. He probably thinks therapy is dumb,
maybe,
or he can't afford it,
Yeah.
Because, a lot of older guys are like, well, I'm not going to therapy. So he probably has that mentality. So for him, I'm his therapy for today. He's getting it out.
Yeah.
But I still I would never go up to a stranger and start trauma dumping on them.
Oh, yeah. So I have no problem with who I'm talking to as long as I have somebody to talk to. And actually, that's not true anymore. I was going to tell you a story related to, so I watched it. So as far as like understanding people, I watched this true crime video yesterday. Oh, that'll be fun.
And this story's messed up. So the cops, this woman called the cops because her boyfriend or husband was being violent. He didn't actually hit her or anything like that, but he was freaking out and like threatening to harm himself or harm somebody else. So it turned out what happened was she was cheating on him. She cheated on him before. He knew about it. She supposedly cut off connections with this guy.
Yeah.
And then he found out that she was still talking to him and still sleeping with the guy.
Right.
And they had a kid together and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he snapped, right? He said he was going to kill himself or kill this other guy.
Right.
And that she called the cops because he was threatening to hurt himself or hurt somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
The cops tried to chase him down. He almost ran over one of them.
Yeah.
He disappeared. They couldn't find him. Eventually, he came back to the apartment where his wife or business building where his wife was. And he was telling the cops that like, somebody's going to die tonight. Me or this other guy or one of the cops. He's like, basically I'm out for blood and all this stuff. Eventually the cops, were holding him at gunpoint and he had scissors and he was threatening. He's like, I'm going to do something. He wasn't threatening to hurt her. He was threatening. He wanted to die. He wanted the cops to shoot him.
Yeah.
So eventually he charged, after them trying to negotiate with him for a long time, trying to get him to stop. Eventually he charges at one of the cops. I don't even think he tried to stab them necessarily, but he charged at them and they shot him.
Yeah.
And he died.
Yeah.
They found out afterwards that while he was driving around and he was fuming, he called a suicide hotline.
Uh-huh.
And the person on the suicide hotline hung up on him.
Wow.
And they knew that because he called one of his friends called him. Because the wife called one of his friends and said, hey, he's freaking out. Can you talk to him? He talked to him. His friend found out that he was on the phone with the suicide hotline and the guy on the phone said something about, I can't help you or something. And he hung up on him.
Holy shit.
So my point is like that situation was fucking horrible.
It's horrible.
But I can kind of sympathize with his situation, right?
Yeah, me too.
His whole life, like he had this, his worldview and his perception of reality was shattered because he thought he was in this loving relationship with his wife. And it turns out she was cheating on him this whole time. So he was betrayed, heartbroken. And then he reaches out for help.
Right.
And he
no
can't
one gave a shit.
Right.
Yeah.
To the point where he ends up suiciding by cop because he chases after them with the scissors. They shoot him. He wanted them. He was saying like, I'm going to die tonight. That's what he said. He kept saying, I'm going to die. And no matter what they did, they couldn't change his mind. They couldn't convince him to stop and just say, hey, let's come to a peaceful resolution. We don't want to shoot you. He wouldn't listen.
Right.
But would I do that? No. Am I condoning his actions? No, but I sympathize with this situation. Like that sucks. Like he was devastated.
Yeah. I can sympathize. I can possibly empathize with portions of it.
But you don't have to. I guess my point in that is like what you were saying before. You don't have to endorse somebody's behavior to empathize or sympathize with their situation.
That's completely true.
Because there's plenty of horrible things that people do.
Right.
But I think it is important to understand how somebody gets to that point and why they get there and what sort of things drive somebody to do those horrible things.
Right. I mean, you can understand it. You just don't necessarily emotionally connect.
And
with
at least
it.
he didn't hurt anybody else.
Yeah,
just
that's
himself.
True.
But
that's true. I will say this because I was just thinking about this while you were talking and telling that story. I was kind of thinking of all the things that I had just said and all that kind of stuff, and talking about the effort and like if you want to get better at X, Y, Z, like talk to the person that is doing those things to get better at it. So if I'm jumping backward in the conversation, excuse me,
no, it's because we were talking about empathy and all that stuff. And I was saying that maybe I would be a good therapist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I actually think you would be in some regards to some people. But you got to know your limits as a therapist too. You got to know your boundaries. Like what populations do you not want to work with because you would not be serving them the best possible? Mine is kids. No. I'd probably kill somebody's dad if they told me their dad touched them inappropriately. So I can't work with, I wouldn't be able to work with kids effectively.
I think that I would be able to, I like those situations would be difficult to deal with, but I would be able to not have that sort of reaction where I would actually physically harm somebody. Like I wouldn't, but I would obviously make sure that kid gets whatever help they need.
Well, no, I would make sure they get the help they need by, eliminating that predator from the planet. No, like that's an emotional reaction, everybody. I truly do not believe in harming people.
I think that's a normal feeling. It's just that
yeah.
I wouldn't be afraid that I would actually act on it.
Right. I am. Which is why I stay away from helping kids and adolescents. What I was going to say was, if you're a person who listens to this show, and hopefully regularly, although our numbers don't dictate you do, but if you listen to this show, or if this is your first time coming across our podcast and you're listening to it, if either me or Steve socialize or interact with each other in a way that is interesting to you, ask us questions about it. Like, talk to us about it. Make a comment on this fucking video and just be like, hey, I want to be able to express emotion like Nick expresses. I want to be as rational and controlled as Steve. I want to do theater and improv like they do. I want to learn to write poetry like Steve, or make my poetry better, as good as Steve's poetry is. Like, talk to us. And I'm not saying we're great, grand, and wonderful and lack fucking issues, because, I've divulged enough of my own personal issues on this show.
I'm the autistic Tennessee Williams.
Yeah, you are. And, oh, God. Streetcar named Tism. Okay, sorry, that's bad.
I was just thinking, because I was working on a script recently. The shoot was a short one. The one I sent to you is like only 7 pages. But that's why I was like, I'm a autistic Tennessee.
Oh shit, I gotta read that. I'm sorry. I lost track of shit and forgot.
It's about
you
junkies.
Yeah, you told me.
Is junkies an offensive term?
Yes, extremely.
Okay. Sorry,
actually.
addicts.
It's extremely.
Is addict offensive too?
For some people, yeah.
What term do I use? Drug abusers?
A person with substance abuse issues?
That's too long.
A substance user?
It's just easier to say an addict.
Yeah, I know it's easier for you because you have no emotional tie to it.
I don't see I guess I'm not, an addict, but, like, I don't understand why.
Okay, so
that would be it's a descriptive term. You're somebody who has an addiction problem, so you're an addict.
Because there are more addictions than just substances, and you're specifically describing people who have a fentanyl issue, right? An opiate issue in your story.
I hint at it, but I don't.
Yeah, you're not talking about shopping addicts, sex addicts. You're not talking about video game addicts.
No, but I would still call
addicts.
somebody who's a sex addict. I would still call them an addict, personally.
Yeah, and you can, but I think you also have a greater understanding of what addiction is in that regard. But a lot of people hear addict and they only think drugs. And that's incorrect.
That sounds like a them problem, not...
Well, it is a them fucking problem.
Because they're the ones who are misunderstanding the word.
But if you're going to write a story about a group of people that can be misunderstood, it is up to you as the writer to clarify and people understand.
I don't actually call them addicts in the script. No. It's implied through
hopefully
what happens.
It's implied through what happens.
Right.
Yeah. And I say that without reading it because I totally forgot to read it. What was I going to say? Oh, the thing I was saying about, if you like what we do. Because so me and Steve both, he's a writer, I'm a performer. We both do improv. We work with a lot of different types of people. Steve does retail sales. I've been an addiction counselor, retail. I've worked in schools with kids doing ABA. I've worked a lot of different types of jobs, by the way, because I can't find a single fucking job that works for me. But my point behind saying that is just we've done a lot of different things, and there might be some skills you can learn from us, just like I could learn some from you. Like I could probably learn from you how not to be an a-hole. But that's probably not going to happen. But what I'm saying is find somebody that makes sense to you. So like, and I don't dislike this gentleman in any way, shape, or form. Okay. But as an example, if you watch videos from Professor Saul, okay, if you watch his videos and you dig the way that dude interacts with people, okay, what he says, what he believes in, all those kinds of things, cool. Ask him advice about how to get to where he's at. But if you don't want to be a fucking professor, if you don't want to write books, if you don't want to encourage autistic people to stay in their isolated little world because sometimes he does that, or at least it seems like he does that, then don't, like watch his videos, but put it in context of that appropriately. Don't learn from him in that way. Like taking the information as what it is. And I'm not bagging on Professor Saul in any way, shape, or form. I think the dude does more good than bad. It's just there's some things I don't agree with. And just like there's probably some shit I say he doesn't agree with. But like, understand that where you're sitting is not necessarily where you could be sitting. And it's not necessarily where you were sitting. You know what I mean? Like who you are today. Oh man, I'm about to fucking, what are they called? Platitudes or some shit? Like I was about to go into like fucking all those fucking metaphorical fucking things or whatever. I don't know the right word for it. I'm smart, but not in the English language.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough.
Right.
And gosh darn it, people like me.
And I would say that
Daily affirmations.
yeah, like I would say that is a true statement. And for anybody who says, well, but people don't like me. Yes, there are people in your life who do like you. You just don't necessarily believe them. You're probably a little skeptical or paranoid about them. And, or you feel as if you have to keep your mask on 100% of the time, which quite frankly, everybody does. Even neurotypicals have masks.
We all
know if
wear
you knew
masks.
this. Yes, exactly.
Metaphorically speaking.
Yes, Ben Stein. But everybody has a mask to some degree. Everybody covers up their language to some degree. Me and him were just talking about this earlier when we were going to get that beautiful big coffee, right? Everybody has a mask of some degree. Everybody changes up their language depending on who they're around. Everybody adjusts to their social moment.
I need a Loki mask.
Yeah, but it's up to you, autistic person. It's up to you to learn how to do that. And it's going to take you longer than it takes other people. Guess what? It took longer for me to learn. It took longer than Steve to learn it. And my ass has been obsessed with social interaction my entire fucking life. And yet it took me a long time to get some. And there's still things I'm still learning about it. Fucking Oswin and Mosh are way fucking better at social interaction than fucking both of us are combined.
What's also,
So, but
there's certain things
they're
about
also
your
better at it.
personality
Yeah.
that
rubs people the wrong way.
yeah.
And also that people
Like the fact that
enjoy.
you swear a lot, some people find it off-putting.
Yeah, the fact that I use the word fuck in almost every sentence. Yeah, it's off-putting. And at the same time, there are some people who really like and appreciate that I am so upfront and brutally honest with the way I talk. And those are the people who say, I don't mind you swearing. Okay, cool. But I have to accept that both types of people exist.
I personally don't care about cussing, but like I don't care about much. That's what I'm saying before as far as what people say.
Well,
Like nothing anyone says ever shocks me. I've heard
no, not necessarily shocks you, but you do give a shit what people have to say.
I'm just saying that I'm not like
And I don't
have a strong emotional reaction to a lot of things people say because I've pretty much heard everything.
not
I
initially.
purposely seek out crazy things.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah,
seek
you
out
do.
extreme viewpoints. I
Yeah,
seek
you
out
do.
crazy conspiracies just because I want to know what people think and how they got there. And it's interesting to me.
He doesn't just seek out the opinion. Sometimes he fixates on it to the point where you think he believes it.
I really like to understand. So when people say things,
Yeah.
I'm usually not surprised. Like we talked about how I work with a guy who's kind of
Yeah.
little far right as
Yeah,
far
yeah.
as his political opinions are. And none of his opinions or anything he says surprises me because I've already heard it all before.
Right.
I've delved into those circles
Yeah.
and like kind of like a what would you call it? Like a fly on the wall,
Yeah.
like a voyeur, just like looking in, like what do these people think? What are they saying? What are their opinions? And they say all kinds of crazy shit. And I read the comments. I've
Yeah.
seen like horribly offensive memes, horribly offensive videos. I see, and I'm not going to mention certain things by name because people will get mad if I mention. But no, I mean like certain creators that I've watched some of their stuff to see what their opinions are. There's some like people that are, who have extreme opinions about different things. But I'm not surprised when I hear that stuff.
Right.
I'm like, I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah. I mean, you do have reactions to things, but I will say, in my experience with you, usually your reaction is like well after the fact. Like you'll bring up something to me and be like, "Oh, I watched this thing like 2 days ago," and like, all right, and then you're like, "Well, I'm thinking back on it." So to me, like if I watch something and I see you that night or like 10 minutes prior to seeing you, I'm talking about it. immediately. But I mean, with you, there's always a lag time. And I'm not saying you're slow by any means. And I'm not saying that, like, every time I said it takes him a while to process, I'm not saying he's dumb or lesser to me just because I react initially. I go gut, my gut reaction to it. I just voice that shit. And sometimes I'm ignorant as fuck when I do it. But that's how I operate. We just operate differently in that regard. But there are times where
It depends on what it is.
process.
Sometimes I don't know how to feel about something.
Right, that's what I mean.
But other times
That's what I'm saying.
I do have immediate emotional reactions to certain things. It depends on what it is.
Usually it depends on the severity of whatever somebody's talking about.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
I see a video about a child being murdered, usually I'll have
Oh, yeah.
a reaction to that right away.
Oh, yeah. What was it, Sudan or somewhere you were telling me
I was
about?
talking about in southern Sudan how they're like there's groups there from the northern part of the country that are just murdering civilians.
That you had an immediate reaction to that shit.
Well, I saw videos that, by the way, I didn't actually seek out these videos. They just came into my feed.
Sure.
Because I didn't even know what was going on over there. But I started seeing all these videos of them abusing children, women. Not that the men's lives were any less valuable, but they were like women who were not combatants, just civilians with their kids.
Yeah.
And they're torturing and killing these people.
Right.
And so I thought that was disgusting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, well,
it
as you
made me
should.
angry, but there's nothing
Right.
I can do about it.
Right. Which is, again, why I try to avoid world news. There's not a goddamn thing I can do about it. I really should reserve my hate of the world.
I saw a
for
video.
specific things.
I don't know if I mentioned this when we spoke about it before, but I saw a
What?
video where they had this ditch, this like hole,
Oh, you told me.
and they made people crawl into this hole. Well, there was one where they buried people alive. There's another one where they they had these people crawl into a hole,
Mhm.
and they were blowing fire in there.
Mhm.
Like, so they had a bunch of people in a enclosed space, and they were throwing fire in it
Mhm.
to burn them alive.
So what you're saying is when one group of people think the other group of people is not worth living,
Right.
they're going to do horrible shit to each other.
Yeah, I mean, they've dehumanized those people enough to the point where they're just like they don't deserve to be alive. They're ethnically cleansing that whole area.
That's exactly right. And crazy enough, it's something that's happened in history for years and years, like the entire existence of human. Weird. It's kind of like it's a humanistic thing to do.
What's going on, or what's pretty much already done in Gaza, which
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of strayed us a little bit.
yeah, well, it's
but-
about time anyway.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So comment, like, share, follow, social medias, whatever. But I really want to get the point across that if you're a person who thinks your autism is holding you back, it's because you are letting your autism hold you back. If you're a person who thinks that you will never achieve because you live in a world that is not built for you, fucking learn the rules of the game and play. And if you don't think you're capable of it, that's you. That's you not putting effort in. And that's a quick summation of my fucking thought of that. I got a lot more opinion about that. But like, follow, subscribe, tell me how I'm wrong. I don't care. Have a great day, everybody.
Peep, peep, foo.